In today's video, I'm going to cover why it's important, not just important, actually vital to have message templates when you're doing drop shipping on Facebook Marketplace, because as you scale and you start listing hundreds and thousands of products, you'll notice that you'll start to get overwhelmed with customer messages, right? And you don't want to ignore these people. You also don't want to be short with them, but taking time to respond to all of them takes a lot of time and is going to add a lot of stress to your day. And that stress and time that you're spending on customer messages is going to take away from your listing or take away from your order processing or take away from another vital part of your business that prevents you from scaling, right? And so you either want to outsource this or you want to make it as streamlined and easy as possible. One of the ways that you can do that is by simply coming up with a bunch of templated messages that you can respond to, because you'll start to notice that you really get a variation of about 5 to 10 questions on a regular basis. Every once in a while you'll get the off question that's different and specific, but most of the time it's one of 5 to 10 questions. So what you can do, and I'm going to show you examples of mine here, you can either take my examples and use them in your own business to save you time, or you can use them as inspiration and come up with ones that you think happen to you on a regular basis. But the reality of the situation is, if you come up with templated message responses, it's going to save you a lot of time and it's going to take a lot of stress and a lot of headaches out of your dropshipping business, right? So let's hop over to the computer and I'll show you some templates. So once you have a lot of products up and you're doing a lot of volume with orders, one of the things that you'll notice is you'll get tons of messages, okay? I wake up to messages literally 100 deep sometimes. And so one of the things that you can do to help save your time, obviously, not counting outsourcing, customer service to a VA, would be to simply have templates. And even if you do outsource, you still want to have templates to respond to customers, because chances are you will get off the random off question that you can't have a template for sure. Okay. That'll happen a lot. But the majority of questions that you'll get will typically be one of two, well, not one of two, but one of a few different potential questions that you can kind of form a template answer for, right? One of the ones that you'll see all the time that, Facebook literally gives you the template response to is hey, is this available? Or do you still have this? And then you can just click the little button that says, yes, this is available. But you'll also start to notice that you'll get, questions that are hey, where are you? Can I pick this up? Or what's the lowest price? Or what are the dimensions? There's a number of different questions, but there's probably about 10 that I get on a regular basis. And so I've gone through and outlined some simple templates that you can use. And these are literally ones that I use in my own business to respond to customers. That way, when I'm going through messages, you might not need this in the beginning when you're only dealing with a few messages here and there, but as you start to scale and you have hundreds and thousands of products, it's going to lead to hundreds and hundreds of messages every single day. And so if you can come up with templates, it's going to save you so much time when you're going through messages, right? Because then you can just copy and paste. You can go through and click on all the ones that are asking the same question, just paste the template answer in there, and that will really save you a lot of time, okay? So first and foremost is when somebody asks, hey, what's your lowest price? Or, how about X on this if it's a little bit less than the purchase price? If you take offers, then that's up to you. I don't personally take offers because I don't really feel like dealing with it and then checking on the supplier to see if I'm still profitable at that price. So I just have a policy of not taking offers. If that's you, then this one works really, really well, where you basically say, I can't go any lower on this. I'm sorry. It's practically a break even already. I only have a few left and they've been moving fast. Basically what that does is it says you're not negotiating on this. You're really sorry about it. It's pretty close to your break even price already. You have a few left and there's already demand. People are already buying them. So you're not really willing to wiggle on that price. Okay. And it's a kind way of saying that. The next one is basically when I mark something fake shipped, which is what I call it, is if somebody orders something where the price is a lot, maybe the price on my supplier has raised. This rarely happens. It does happen every once in a while because I use eDrop. I do not use FBM Fox. I don't pay to monitor my stock levels or my prices. I've covered that before and why I don't do that. It's not necessary in my opinion because I'm doing so many orders that even if I have those one-off orders where I have to process it at a loss slightly, or I have to, mark it fake shipped, or even cancel the order, right? It doesn't hurt my overall metrics because I'm doing so much volume. But in some specific aspects, if you do have an order where the price has skyrocketed on your supplier's website, or maybe it's out of stock or something of the sorts, right? Then what you can do is you can obviously cancel, but if you don't want to cancel, you can mark it shipped with a fake OAG tracking number. okay? And so then what you want to do is you want to wait until the customer messages you. Usually they'll be like, hey, this was marked delivered, but I didn't get it or whatever. Can you look into this? And so I respond with a template, I refund them, and then I literally send them the picture of the refund so that they know, right? I literally just say like, hey, somehow this got delivered to the wrong address. I'm currently on the phone with FedEx, or if you use the UPS, tracking number with OA Genius, put UPS in there. I'm currently on the phone with FedEx or UPS trying to figure out exactly what happened, but I've gone ahead and issued you a full refund on your order. Sorry for the inconvenience, right? If you say that to them, then basically what you're doing, obviously this isn't like a good business owner move because you're passing the buck to FedEx and UPS, but for drop shipping purposes, it works very, very well because a lot of times you'll notice like, buyers can understand if you blame UPS or USPS or like, what's the other one? Why can't I think of it? FedEx, right? Because like you're saying like, hey, I'm willing to help you. I'm taking ownership of this by refunding you, and I'll deal with the problem, even though you know that you fake shipped this or it got lost in shipment, right? And so it's a really good way to kind of handle it. The buyer's gonna be like, oh, thank God, like I thought my order was being marked delivered, and I was paying for something I didn't get, so they'll be relieved most of the time, okay? And then you kind of just pass the buck in a sense to the carrier, and you're basically saying like, hey, they messed it up. I'm not really sure why they sent it to the wrong address, but like I'll deal with them. Here's your refund, okay? That works very, very well. This is one that if you're moving a lot of orders and you're marking a lot of orders fake shipped will really, really help you, okay? The next one is when somebody asks like where your location is or if they can pick it up. What I basically respond with is, hey, I'm in PA, but I ship everywhere. You can order on the listing. There should be a buy now button, and I'll ship it to you with a tracking number. That works very, very well. It's a great template, okay? Now, this is one where if I order something on a supplier where, the tracking or the item won't be delivered within like a certain time window, and I have to mark it ship because it's been within 3 days. So I have to mark it ship, but I can't get a legitimate OAG tracking number within the time frame, right? So what I'll do is I'll find a tracking number as far out as possible as I can find. Usually it's about a week from now, sometimes 10 days if you get lucky. And what I'll do is I'll mark that in my spreadsheet of like, hey, this is an OAG tracking number, but it's coming later. And so I know when they respond to me like, hey, mine says delivered, but then you'll look at your spreadsheet and it won't be one of these where you marked it fake shipped. Instead, it's one of these where you marked it with an OA Genius tracking number, but the item is still in transit, right? It hasn't reached them yet. And so what I'll do then, because usually this will buy you like a week or so, sometimes 10 days, so until you get the real tracking number or until you actually get closer to the delivery date where you can form an actual legitimate OA Genius tracking number that will go to that, that address within like a more realistic time frame of its delivery. And then you can respond with something like this, right? Where, hey, I just checked and it looks like I accidentally input the wrong tracking number. I'm really sorry. My mistake. I mixed it up with another order. I've been getting a lot of these lately. Yours is expected to be delivered. And then obviously you want to put in the delivery date there where theirs is expected to be delivered. Or if you don't have a delivery date there, which is rare, but does happen every once in a while, if it's like a really, really long time frame, you shouldn't be selling that product anyway because it's not worth the headache. Trust me. But if for whatever reason this is like your first or second one and you are, then what you can do is you can just delete this out of there. And then, don't say yours is expected to be delivered, and then just give them the actual tracking number or input another tracking number in there or whatever, right? So this template works really, really well as well. And then you say, sorry for the misunderstanding. And again, this person, most of the time, every once in a while, you'll deal with some dickhead that's like pissed off. But like most people, when you give them one of these, will be relieved and like, thank you. I thought I was getting scammed or something like that. Same thing with this. Like most people will be relieved and they'll be like, oh my God, thank you. Like my item's still in transit. That's a relief. And you give them the real tracking number instead of them being like pissed off that like they thought they got an item that was being delivered to them and then it never showed up and they are out the money, right? So they're going to be relieved. But again, the last thing you want to do is kind of respond manually to every one of these because if you don't have a template, it's going to take you a lot of time. It's going to take you a lot of brain power and it's going to zap your energy dealing with these problems rather than if like you see one of these problems, you have a template for it, then bam, just input the template right there, fix the few things to make it personal if it's one of these things. And then you kind of, do the customer service after like, yeah, sorry, like I've been swamped lately, but I made a mistake. Here's your real tracking number, right? It works very, very, very well. The next one is when people, I've been getting this question a lot, so I just actually put this one in there. The dimensions are listed in one of the pictures for you. Hope it helps. Or you can just say like the dimensions are listed in the description for you. If they are, obviously you want to check that really fast. But a lot of people literally will ask like, hey, what's the size? Or like, how long is this? Or like, what's the height of the table? Or literally anything random, right? Like that. And 99.9% of the, maybe that's a little bit high, maybe 95% of the time, the tracking or the dimensions or the size is listed in one of the pictures for them, or it's listed in the description already. Okay. If it's not, then obviously you want to go find it, put it in the description or put it in one of the pictures, so that you can do this in the future, because you want to take the work out of it. You want to address the problem now so that you don't have to keep responding to that question over and over again. You want to do the work now so that you don't have to do it in the future over and over again, right? But chances are the size will be listed somewhere, the dimensions will be listed somewhere, and then you can respond with a template like this. Most people aren't checking; they're literally just seeing it, gut shot, and they're sending you a message like, "Hey, what's the length of this?" without even checking the description or reading through it. Okay. And finally, one that I also just added, and these are just a few of the templates that I use, but these are the main ones that I pulled up. So this one right here is, I used to not respond to people when they would like message me in Spanish, because like I didn't want to have a conversation and keeps translating. But one thing that I noticed, like obviously, is most people that speak Spanish obviously speak English as well. And so what I basically say politely is like, hey, I don't speak Spanish, but you can order on the listing. There should be a buy now button. Same thing with this, and I'll ship it to you with tracking. Okay. So what this basically says is like, you're not going to have a conversation with them in Spanish, because what this literally says is, I can't speak Spanish. I'm sorry. But then you tell them how they can go about buying it if they want to. So what that does is, if their English isn't that good, they can either translate this, or they might be able to read this and understand it. Chances are they will. And basically says you're not going to have a conversation with them in Spanish because you don't speak Spanish, but you're still being polite and you're telling them how they can go about buying it. Okay. Most of the time, this one right here won't result in a sale, but every once in a while I have noticed that like if I'm just polite and I say something like this, somebody that messages me in Spanish will either respond with a question in English and they're speaking, fluent English, or what they will do, and I don't know if it's because I have like a Spanish last name in Guerra, so that could be something of like why people, go out of their way to message me a lot. But I think that's just a thing on Facebook. A lot of people speak Spanish and, they message you that way, and that's fine. So rather than kind of going back and forth and translating, because if you can speak fluent Spanish, more power to you, then communicate with them in Spanish. That's obviously very powerful. But since I don't speak fluent Spanish, this just makes it so much easier, and it does result in sales a lot of the time. Okay. So these are templates that you can use. Obviously, you can use these. You can mold your own. You can come up with your own, but it's going to save you so much time making templates, because once you start to scale this business, you'll notice that you're getting hundreds of messages a day. And those people are interested buyers potentially. You don't want to just ignore them, right? You want to have templated answers. Either you want to outsource this to a VA and have the VA handle it for you, or you want to have templated answers. I still do all my customer service myself. I get hundreds of messages a day. It's not that big of a headache when you have a lot of templates like this. You can just respond to all the questions super quickly. I do it probably for like 15, 20 minutes in the morning, and obviously throughout the day if I see them here and there. So hope this helps. It's going to save you a lot of time and honestly save you a lot of stress and a lot of headaches.